I'm on my spin bike for a few minutes because my cold tub was so cold this morning, I could not get warm. So I'm hopping on the spin bike to warm up a little bit because going outside in the rain just felt too cold. I wanted to talk a little bit about cravings and hunger and why we have cravings. And I want to remind you that when we have a craving for something, like chocolate or chips or a drink or checking our phone, anything, we often judge ourselves for having the craving, and we often judge the craving as bad. So when it comes up, we sort of panic, like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to lose weight right now. I've been doing so well, and now all of a sudden I can't stop thinking about cookies. So that sort of judgment of the craving, of making it bad, creates resistance and struggle instantaneously. Whereas if you say were to try to brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand, my right hand is my dominant hand. So if I tried to brush with my left hand, within a matter of seconds, I would space out and I would grab my right hand and start brushing. And I wouldn't berate myself for that. I wouldn't be like, oh, you're so weak. Why can't you just brush your hand with your left hand? And then after a while of trying and failing, every time I noticed the urge to use my right hand, I might berate myself. Damn it, that urge keeps coming up to switch hands. Why does this keep happening? Notice that we wouldn't have judgment around that. We wouldn't berate ourselves. We would just be like, geez, that's really hardwired. I better try again. I'm going to stay present this time. I'm not going to space out and think about what I have to do this morning. I'm going to really focus on staying present with my left hand. And the thing about food is that most of us have tried and failed to quit sugar or stop eating so much or stop snacking at a certain time. And because we weren't successful 5 times or 1,000 times, we've decided that it's our fault. And we judge ourselves and we judge the hint of the craving that comes up. And that is part of your habit cycle. You think that eating the food is the habit, but the pattern includes much more than just eating the food. It's also the resistance, it's also the judgment, and berating after you eat the food. It's also the restriction that comes after you eat the food and judge yourself. It's a whole long pattern. And what we do is we just try and control the food. Like, I'm not going to have chocolate, I'm not going to have chocolate, I'm not going to have chocolate. And so one of the things that I want you to try is when you have a craving, say, of course you do. Chocolate's delicious. I still want chocolate all the time. When I see it, I'm like, God, I love chocolate. I was just telling a client I went out to a special dinner with my husband, and I have very strategically planned amounts of alcohol, maybe like 10 drinks a year. And I had a dirty martini, which is my very favorite thing, vodka martini. And then that was pre-dinner, and then when the steak came, I was like, oh, this would be really good with a glass of red wine. I've been drinking this way for years and years and years. I still have the craving or the urge to have red wine with steak. But it's not a problem. Of course I want red wine with steak. Red wine with steak is delicious, right? So there's no struggle. There's no conflict. I haven't created any intensity in that. And then I can sit back and get curious and be like, how would I feel after having a glass of red wine after a martini? And I've done a lot of this forward thinking already. So I have the list of things that I don't want and the list of things that I want to feel when I leave a dinner. So immediately my brain goes to my list because I've practiced this for so many years. And it's like, you don't want to sleep bad tonight. You don't want to feel gross. You don't want to wake up puffy. You don't want to have a sour stomach. Boom, 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 automatically. And then I'm just like, I'm not going to have a glass of wine. And if I hadn't have allowed that craving to be there without any judgment or conflict, I would never have been able to access that part of my brain, the prefrontal cortex, to be able to do that. So once we go into that judgment, this is bad, you're bad, we just are in that sort of like, now I need to feel better, that real survival brain, that primitive brain. And it's like, I'm going to have the damn wine because it'll make me feel better. It might not even be conscious. So there's so many parts to cravings. There's also, have you eaten enough protein? Have you eaten enough vegetables? If I don't eat for 3 days, or I eat crap for 3 days, of course I'm going to have cravings. My blood sugar is going to be all over the place. My essential nutrients aren't going to be met. That's another part. Another part is like, what are you filling up on in life? What are your thoughts about yourself? This is all the stuff we work on in my program. But the thing is, you have to practice it. You have to practice it over and over and over. But I think the thing that I'm talking about today, which is the part that most people really miss, is that don't create conflict with the craving. Of course, these things are delicious. They're everywhere in our society. You have learned to want them. You have learned that your day or your night or this moment in time is going to be better because of them. So you can just have the thought, of course I want it. But how do I want to feel tomorrow? How do I want to feel tonight? How do I want to feel next week? Engage that prefrontal cortex. And then if it's a struggle still, if they don't go away, then you can just say, yep, this feels hard. This feels hard right now, and I'm just going to sit with it and allow the craving and the desire to be there. That doesn't mean I have to do anything about it. And most of the time, when you sit with something for 15 minutes, just let it be there. I'm not saying be like, I want chocolate, I want chocolate, I want chocolate for 15 minutes. Very rare does it last more than 15 minutes. So remember that. And then the more you do this, the more evidence you're going to create. Like, oh, that's right, I did this last time and it was gone in like 7 minutes. Oh, I did this last time and it was so much better. I woke up so happy that I didn't have the wine. I felt so good at night not having eaten a bunch of chocolate. So you just have to practice and practice this. Let me know if you have any questions.